doesn't work with the lights not working.
You do?
It works. Thank you.
7 o'clock.
We're all set, sir.
Joe.
Testing.
Testing 7464.
Plan Commissioner, are you ready? Merle, you ready?
That's work.
Board members, you ready?
Yeah.
You didn't shave today?
He's experimenting.
Town of Vernon Board of Supervisors and Joint Plan Commission meeting will come to order for Wednesday, March 3rd, 2019, 7 p.m. All rise for the pledge of the flag, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Chairman Thomas Byrd.
Present.
Supervisor Jeff Millies.
Present.
Supervisor Gary Wildy.
Present.
Supervisor Ed Moline.
Present.
Supervisor Commissioner Bill Craig.
Present.
Commissioner Merle Wagner.
Present.
Mr. Chairman, note for the record that you do have a quorum of your town board, you have a quorum of your plan commission, and the zoning and planning administrator, Sean Malarkey, is here also, sir.
All right, thank you. Open meeting law compliance.
Mr. Chairman, the agenda was posted inside and outside the Vernon Town Hall to the website. You're in full compliance with the open meetings law.
Okay, public comments. Are there any public comments? Any public comments? Let the record show there are no public comments. Number 5, miscellaneous matters. Following matters to be discussed and possible action taken by the Town of Vernon Board of Supervisors and or the Plan Commission unless otherwise noted. Okay, item A, discussion of the land use plan amendments to the Town of Vernon Comprehensive Plan. Okay, I'm just going to read a little sheet here. Town of Vernon Smart Growth Comprehensive Plan, Land Use Map, Update Summary. For the people that weren't here tonight, we have maps in the town hall available here of what we're proposing. Reasons we're proposing this is we've been trying to update our comprehensive plan for the last couple of years. And instead of doing the whole thing, we decided to do it in sections. And what we're doing is areas in the town that will provide consistent with the Village of Big Bend and the village's land use plan within adjacent areas of the town. Plan growth and allow increased densities where it makes sense near the village, boundary following context or established development patterns. Allow property owners with larger parcels the ability to create a land division or two where appropriate within the town. Provide updates to environmental corridors and floodplain mapping. And to match Waukesha County land use plan categories. So, I will turn this over to our town planner. If you have any comments?
I don't have any specific comments. I think, I talked to a number of people tonight, and the feedback that I got from most people were, a sense of understanding in terms of what was trying to be accomplished and the goals that the Plan Commission and Board had as part of the land use plan update. I personally didn't hear anything negative about some of the planned land uses and the densities we were talking about in the town. And just as a quick overview for those that weren't here tonight, we are trying to match, as Chairman Byrd mentioned, the county's land use plan categories. So right now the town has a medium density category. That is close to what the county has as their low density category, so we'd be changing the name of that to match theirs, which is low density, and we'd be going from 32,670 square feet to 1.49 acres per dwelling unit. We'd be changing that to 20,000 square feet to 1.49 acres per dwelling unit. Again, matches the county's. The county has two districts called Suburban Density 1 and Suburban Density 2 that ranges from 1.5 to 4.99 acres per dwelling unit. That coincides with the town's low-density district. We'd be changing the name of that to suburban density, but keeping the density the same, which is 1.5 to 4.99. And then our rural residential district, we would not be changing any density associated with that because that does already match the county's provisions as well. So I think it was overall a positive meeting. Again, I didn't hear anything from the people I talked to that would suggest any particular changes to the categories and the areas that we presented. Anyone else have a differing opinion?
Well, let's start with Merle on the Plan Commission there.
I think it all went real well. I didn't get any negative comments. Nothing.
Bill?
No, same thing. Nothing negative. A lot of questions, very good questions. I think people understand what we're doing and surmise why we're doing it too. So.
Eddie?
I had the same. I had one person who asked me what took so long, but it sounded like they were all in favor of everything that happened. And I explained this has been looked at before. This is just.
Well, part of it is that with administering our own zoning code, we've got a leg up on what we can do with land use and densities.
Yep. No, we couldn't before.
And we couldn't without Big Brown stealing it from the county, but now the county is working with us.
Yeah.
And it's a good thing all the way around.
Yeah, everybody wins.
Yep. Gary?
Yeah, I talked to a few people and they mostly have questions that were able to be answered. A lot of people still don't understand the theory of annexation. And a couple of people still thought that if a person had a piece of land, the village could come along and take it. And I had to try and convince them, that it doesn't work unless the property owner decides to take it. And they said, well, then how did that happen with the cemetery? Well, I couldn't really answer that question, Bill, that the property got taken.
Well, that was given to the village.
Yeah. And somebody else.
The cemetery person that was taking care of that gave that to the village.
They gave it away.
And that was the big crux of the matter why they went to
court. And the courts ruled against the property owner, basically.
Yeah, you fraudulently signed the deed.
Yeah.
You did.
Is that how that's transparent?
Yep.
Because I didn't have the answer to that, but they still thought that if a person wanted to, then some of these people got dragged in on the Pickow annexation. They said that, well, those people, they didn't want to go, and I said, well, they didn't have much choice. They got dragged in because the majority said that they were going to take their land to Big Bend. And there were questions on sewer, are we going to see sewer up in that area? And I said, not in your immediate future. And so I think all in all, it was a good meeting. It shows people that we have an interest in protecting the property that's in the town of Vernon, I think. And then for that, I think we should thank Tom. Because you initiated this, I think, and we went along with it based because it's a good idea, and I think it's going to be proven that this will work to the benefit of the town totally, and I think the chairman was involved in getting this started, so he needs to take some majority part of the credit for getting this going. So, and I even heard one of the candidates against the running in the election said this should have been done a long time ago. So he's in favor of it. So it's something that needed to be done, and I'm glad that it's off the ground.
Yeah, I don't have any comments either. It was more comments on why is this even necessary? Why would anybody want to annex to another municipality with higher taxes? People didn't think that this was needed, and after explaining it to them, the situation why somebody would want to go to another community, then they started realizing, oh yeah, I guess this makes sense then.
Because of the densities.
Mm-hmm.
If you got a 5-acre lot, you can get 7 or 8 houses on it with the roads or whatever, whereas in some of the density areas, you need 5 acres or 10 acres to build, to get one lot.
You know, it all comes down to money. When you want to sell your property, what's going to give you the best value?
And
How's
that's
going to
it.
make the most?
And that's what we found in the, people that have left the town of Vernon for Annex 2. They're looking for the density. And that's, at least we want to get in the game and be able to talk to the people. Because we can offer them density. We can offer them, you know, fire department, we can offer them low taxes. We got the DPW department that can handle what we're proposing. So we're all in. Any other comments?
The meeting.
Yeah.
Okay. So, item B, set public hearing date for amendment to the Town of Vernon Comprehensive Plan. So, Madam Clerk, do we have a handout for the board for what the public hearing notice would say?
I did not copy it for the board. It's just the public notice, because the town chairman indicated he would like to do the public hearing on April 17th. So all this would be is, it's the general standard public notice that would go in the paper, it would go on the website, posted. Sean is going to draft the text amendments and the maps related to that public hearing notice, and if the board chooses to do the April 17th, even though we're required under the law only to do a class 1, just to make in conjunction with our public participation plan, we're only required to do a class 1, but just to give the public even more notice, we'll do a dual publication notice on April. The first one would be March 18th, and then we'll do a second one like the 3rd or the 10th of April. If the board chooses to set the public hearing date of April 17th, 2019 at a time that you determine.
Any comments from the board or the plan commission?
How long a public hearing is it? Just until there's enough input from people and then you can cut off the public hearing when everybody's done speaking, or is there a specific time?
A public hearing allows the public to speak as long as they,
Yeah, as long as they,
and the chairman makes a determination in regards if something's
in other words,
repetitive.
it's
It'll
not
be
set
the
by-
same, on the same effect as it was with the border agreement.
Okay.
So is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
Mr. Chairman, what time would you like the public hearing to start at, sir?
What day is that?
April 17th
April 17th.
Wednesday?
is a Wednesday. You'll have your annual meeting on the 16th, the public hearing on the 17th, and the town board meeting on the 18th. So don't make any plans for that teen.
So
You're
what-
busy.
What time, gentlemen? We're here. You wanna make it 7?
Yeah.
I like 6.
That's what. 6:30?
Well, it's just consistent with all other meetings out.
Give everybody time to get home and eat.
7?
7 on
All right.
Wednesday people are working. That's a good one.
So there's a motion on the floor
Well,
for
it's
the public.
still church that night, isn't it? Wednesday? Easter's not till.
Easter's not.
When's Easter?
Yeah. Easter.
April 21st.
Would that be
The week
last?
before Easter, you're very busy. Monday, Thursday, you have a meeting.
We're gonna be busy. If we're here.
You might not be here. So,
We'll see.
did you decide on 7?
7 o'clock, yeah. So for April 17th, Wednesday, 7 p.m. Then moved and seconded.
County's feedback before we would approve that. So that'd be part of the process.
Okay, so That would be determined by the county when a developer comes in and does some test sites.
When, yeah, our CSMs, we require them to do borings, and at that time, the county would take a look at those borings to make sure that the soils were adequate, the setbacks were adequate, and again, just what we've been told is that it's 30,000 is kind of the rule of thumb, but there's exceptions.
They'd actually have to almost provide footprints along with the borings, right? So the county would even know if that.
In terms of setbacks from the house and so on, I don't know necessarily if you'd need to provide a footprint, but they'd have to be assured that there's going to be substantial enough room for the septic system.
Okay, the reason I ask, because there's not a lot, but there's some R3 out there now.
Yeah, there is.
Vernon, which is 20,000. And I don't know of any that don't have a septic. Now, I don't know, I can't say they didn't need a variance or something. Okay. The only other thing, Sean, a question. Now, we've got an A5 now, correct? Our existing. And is that exactly what we're looking at on that rural residential? Is that exactly what our present A5 is then, right now?
No, A5 zoning? Yeah, I mean, potentially, but A5 allows lots smaller than 5 acres. It allows lots as small as 1 acre, provided you preserve the rest of the land for whatever it may be. So rural residential could be zoned A5, yes, it's potential to do that, but it could be zoned. That's
just used, in my head, I'm just used to equating the acronym with the.
But almost all A5 planned land that's planned for A5 right now, or planned for rural residential right now, already has ag zoning or A5 zoning or that kind of thing. So
my understanding was A5 is a minimum 5 acre.
It's 5 acre density.
R5 was a 5 acre density.
But he's talking zoning and land use. They're two different.
Oh, yeah. I guess.
Are you talking zoning or land use? Because it's two different.
Let me take a look at my code.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm getting confused too between land use and zoning, but let's clear it up. So yeah, A5 is our mini farm district. And that is, that's 5 acres, yes. And so our D5, as you mentioned, is the other 5 acre density, but that allows smaller lots, provided you preserve the rest. So that's a great question.
Okay, so the one we're referring to here then, under the new rural residential, that would be what we have now is A5, correct?
That's the closest fit, yes.
Okay, thank you. I just don't want to get confused on my old understanding of it.
But we haven't changed that. I mean, rural residential is what it's always been.
Question. Years ago, and I don't remember how long, it came up that somebody wanted to build a bunch of condominiums or private homes with shared septics. And what it came down to is we were informed that if you had a shared septic and one of the residents that's sharing it decides that they no longer want to deal with it, or you end up with a problem, you end up with a lawsuit about who's going to take care of it, and eventually the town can become responsible for that. So from a liability standpoint, I'd like to make sure that the Plan Commission writes something in to not allow shared septics, if that's possible.
Well, we haven't discussed that in any capacity.
Just putting out
But you're right. But you're right. Ultimately, the town has to sign any agreement for
Sanitary district.
Yeah, exactly.
Becomes a sanitary district.
Yeah. I don't know. We haven't talked about that, but you're right. There are certain risks as part of that, but they've been done, and they're not completely uncommon.
I just bring it up because when I heard the word, it rang a bell, and I remember the conversation. I remember being turned down for that reason. So,
well, that was Fox River Woods, and Fox River Woods had a high water table.
you remember?
And that's the only reason why they were doing that down there, because they couldn't get conventionals in there on them lots. That's why they had to go to that.
Everybody will do this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the whole thing fell apart.
Right.
Well, there were other reasons in there too that
I do remember the town
Oh, yeah.
discussing liability issues.
I don't really want to get into that, but we can deal with that.
Yeah, so it's in everybody's mind, that's all I wanted to
Oh, yeah,
find out.
we don't forget that.
Okay.
That's, we won't forget
Thank you.
that. Any other questions?
Good.
Anything else, gentlemen? All right, we have some minutes here. So, we've got approval from Plan Commission, we've got approval from Board, set the public hearing for April 17th, Wednesday, 7 p.m.
Yes.
Okay. Approval of minutes. Plan Commission and Town Board meeting, minutes February 13th. We'll have Plan Commission approval first.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from February 13th.
I'll second that.
Any comments? Any other comments?
I'd like a little time to read them.
I emailed them to you.
Pardon me?
I emailed them to you.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
I was gone for 2 days. I tried to keep up with you.
Well, that's like 8 pages. You're going to have to read fast.
Well, you want to,
Otherwise, they can just abstain.
okay.
Good enough.
Anybody else want a good one? Or, we got a motion, right? Merle? Second, yep. Merle and Jeff. All right, Plan Commission. All those in favor?
Aye.
And Bill? You're going to abstain? Okay. All right, Town Board?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Oppose or abstain?
Abstain,
Okay. Adjournment of the Plan Commission, is there a motion?
Second.
Who made, oh, Merle?
Merle.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
One abstain.
Are you really abstaining on?
Is there,
He wants to stay
is
here.
there adjournment for the Town Board?
So moved. Second.
Got it.
All those in favor?
Aye.